On the job. We never once, during the Trump administration's 4 years, held up a U.S. attorney when it came to a voice vote, a unanimous voice vote, to give them the opportunity to serve this country. It is unthinkable that we're going to do this to these fine men and women today. And so today I'll ask unanimous consent for a vote on these nominees. I ask unanimous consent that the Senate consider the following nomination. Calendar numbers 534, 35, 535, 536, 581, and 582. That the nominations be confirmed, the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate. That no further motions be in order, the nominations. That any related statements be printed in the record. That the President be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Is there objection?
Mr. President.
Clear. It has nothing to do with them. It's about me. He obviously doesn't approve of what happened one day in the committee, and the price to be paid is not by me, but by the U.S. attorneys, well qualified, who have important jobs to fill. One member of the Republican caucus is upset with the fact that back in March, this happened in March, the Judiciary Committee moved to vote on the nomination of Vanita Gupta to be Associate Attorney General when Republican members of the committee had not finished speaking in her nomination. He correctly remembers that he was speaking at approximately 10 minutes to 12. When I interrupted him, took a roll call vote, and then went back to him if he wished to speak again. I'll be the first to acknowledge that I move forward with a vote on Ms. Gupta's nomination over the objections of committee Republicans. But put simply, the Republicans forced my hand that day. The senator from Arkansas talks about courtesy in this body. I will tell him I think that it should be a hallmark of what we all do at all times. I am fortunate, truly blessed in my mind, to have as the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee a real friend in Chuck Grassley, the Republican senator of Iowa. I asked him that day what was going on. I had informed the committee in writing that we would proceed with a vote on Ms. Gupta that day. I then allowed committee Republicans to speak for 94 minutes on Ms. Gupta's nomination, even though much of what was said was repetitive, some false, and some really unwarranted. I was in fact to prepare to allow committee Republicans to speak for as long as they wish. Turned to Senator Grassley and said, "What's the plan here?" And he said, "Well, Senator Tillis may return and speak, and we just have these members speaking." I'd received assurances that the Republicans would not use an obscure Senate rule, the 2-hour rule, to cut off the markup before we voted on Ms. Gupta's nomination. But at 11:55 a.m., I was surprised, as was Senator Grassley, to be informed that despite their earlier assurances, a Republican senator had in fact invoked the 2-hour rule in an effort to prevent Ms. Gupta's nomination from being considered that day and to close down the markup in the committee. My hand was forced by this action. It was a surprise move, tactical move, surely within the rules for them to make, but I did exactly what previous Republican chairs of the Judiciary Committee did in similar situations. I ended the debate and called for the vote on the nomination. Now, if you're listening to this and wondering what these arcane committee procedures have to do with U.S. attorney nominations, you're not alone. The senator is pleading that we should stand by the traditions of the Senate. In the traditions of the Senate, these U.S. attorney nominees would go through by unanimous consent. That's a tradition of the Senate as well. The simple answer is what happened with the markup debate more than 8 months ago has nothing to do with these 5 fine individuals or with any other U.S. attorney nominee who may come before the Senate. If the senator from Arkansas wants me to publicly express my regret for this occurrence, I express that regret. But I want to make it clear, I relied on my friend, Senator Grassley. We were both surprised to know that someone had invoked the 2-hour rule. Caught by surprise, I did what other Republican chairs of the committee have done. I don't believe we should play politics with critical law enforcement nominations. They are putting our communities at risk and politicizing law enforcement in a way that threatens public safety. If we're going to truly stand up for law and order, let these men and women go to work across America representing the Department of Justice.
Senator from Arkansas.
I'd like to address to the chair a question to the senator from Illinois. I appreciate those comments. I would observe that since that day, we have not had a similar circumstance in which any Republican wishing to speak was cut off in a markup. Can we simply have a commitment that that will not happen again in the future, as it hasn't happened in the last 9 months?
Mr. President,
Senator from Illinois.
responding through the chair, as long as there is openness and honesty about what is happening in procedure, I will assure you I'll do everything I can to extend that courtesy forward. That particular day, you may or may not be aware of the fact that while you were speaking, we learned, Senator Grassley and I both learned, that someone had raised the 2-hour rule. And it came as a surprise to both of us. When we're open and honest about what we're trying to achieve in the committee, there's no reason why we can't abide by basic courtesy in the tradition of the Senate.
Mr. President, I appreciate the remarks from the senator for Illinois. I will invite him to make his unanimous consent request again. I do not intend to object further. And a voice vote is fine with me.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the Senate consider the following nominations en bloc. Calendars numbers 534, 535, 536, 581, 582. That the Senate vote on the nominations en bloc without intervening action or debate. The motions to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate. That any statements related to the nominations be printed in the record. That the President be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Is there an objection? Without objection. The Senate will proceed to the nominations en bloc. The question is on the nominations en bloc. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The nominations are confirmed. And the President will be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Mr. President,
Senator from Rhode Island.
I just want to thank my colleague, Senator Cotton, and my chairman, Senator Durbin, for the way in which that resolved itself. For a minute, we actually feel like a Senate here. Thank you.
Suggest the absence of a quorum.
The absence of a quorum is questioned. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.